Namaste Shiva, Abhinandate. Namaste Shiva, Mama Abhinandate. Hello, human. I hail you. Mama Pratata, Varnika Shiva, Prajanam, Aditya Suna, Image Keeper. Samasti. I am a phantom, with a mask of a human, of the reincarnation of the Sun Image Keeper. So I kind of buried a lead. I kind of dropped a lead, honestly. And that is basically that this name giver is essentially a Madhya Namada, or a mind name giver. Now here's the thing. Let's run the second yuga, okay? So, like, cut me some slack. But essentially, back in the Age of Legends, this guy owned a mine. The star fell basically like into the mine. And so because of that, found her first, said he owned her, because he saw her turn into a human from being a star. And he's like, I want to own a star. And like, this farm boy shows up, and he's like all interested in this woman. And he assumes that like, I know she's a star. He can't know she's a star, because he doesn't know about the wish. And so, basically the mine owner, like he's basically the antagonist in the second yuga. Like that's basically where he came in. That's kind of like a lot of the idea where like the Herculean labor of the impossible task comes up. This farm boy shows up at this mine, and he doesn't want any of the riches in the mine. He wants this woman that fell from the sky. And like, he basically straight up tells the mine owner, no, that's a fallen star. I wish for love on it. That's how I know it's her. Because as soon as I saw her, it's like, it has to be her. And this like mine owner is like, there's no way this kid knows. There's no way. There's no way. There's just no way. And that's actually part of where the issue came up with the names, is because he found her first, and she basically landed in the middle of his space. He decided to name her first, which is how this became a problem. So, basically, like, another problem with how this worked is the way Cholita works. It's a song of 4 parts. And basically because of the way names work, in that they're so associated with Aryasthana, essentially, like, Tattva could kind of really only exist in Arya Yuga on Aryasthana. It still existed, but it was sort of like all as one sthana, and then like, then the Age of Legends happened, and it's basically like Cholita was a song of 2 parts instead of a song of 1 part, because we had that much time, and then there's like 3rd and 4th, and then we get to the full Cholita by the time like human history is actually rolling around the 4th Yuga, or like in the middle of the 3rd Yuga. So Essentially, I married a star, and this butthurt mine owner has been making it a problem for everybody else ever since. Like, he just, like, oh, yeah, that's also part of why he's so obsessed with gold, because it was a gold mine. Like, it was a literal, actual gold mine. He had a gold mine, a star fell into it. He's thought, like, I have won. I already own a gold mine, and a star that turned into a woman basically landed in my lap. She's mine. Because I found her, and she landed in my spot. Which basically kind of gives you the idea of the mentality of someone who would be, like, so obsessed with, like, chasing after someone after, like... Because the thing is, like, it's essentially... the difference between love at first sight and obsession with first sight. Like the mine owner, obsessed. Immediately. Landed in his face. He said, it's mine. Not she's mine, it's mine. Kind of a key distinction there, actually. And so that's part of where, that's kind of where the Divodasa became like the heaven slave. Is because in the third Yuga, this little idiot went around renaming everything, trying to specifically get a hold of that star. And so to basically serve heaven, to serve the stars, the Divodasa Namada, the heaven slave name giver, had to go around and fix everything that this little idiot screwed up to try to steal the heaven slave wife away. And then there was, like, it's basically like this recurring story of this idiot who's like, every Yuga, I'm going to get all the gold. And then once I have all the gold, that star's mine. And I'm going to make, like, a religion around myself. So when I have my star bride, I'll have truly made it. And, like, the little idiot is, like, all obsessed with getting his hands on, like, a Tara Pali, like a star bride. By specifically, I don't know, just, like, ignoring how things work. Like, I'm gonna just, like, obsess over this one specific woman. Partially because she landed in my space, and partially because she chose someone else. And I kind of don't want to accept that she chose someone else. Because she landed in my spot. And I want to believe that that meant she chose me. That might be what it boils down to. So, basically, we have all these extra names at the end of the third Yuga. We have all these extra symbols at the end of the fourth Yuga. All these flags, etc. So that gets us into, like, the fifth Yuga. That's Kavitartika Simha territory. And the Aya Yuga, or the Iron Age. And so basically, that's more or less modern history up until, like, 2000-ish. So basically, like, this Jiva Avatar, he was born in the Fifth Age. Where are we now? We're kind of sort of in, like, 6-ish, 7-ish. The way Yuga work is very, like, fascinating. Because the thing is, like, once the fourth age wrapped up, like, the fifth age was just, like, straight up in Chalita. We didn't have to have any more, like, expanding history. It's complicated. Anyway. But then we have, like, the fifth age, and then we have, like, extra stuff, and that's where I come in. Not him, but, like, Kavitartika Simha. Because, like, I was around before him, obviously. But anyway, the point is, by that time, the fourth age closed. Basically, modern human history had begun. Like, we're getting into Birth of Christ. We're getting into the rise of all the nations around the world, getting into Industrial Revolution, Renaissance. Yes, I'm going out of order, but and the reason this is sort of like my time in terms of being the line of philosophers and poets has a lot to do, honestly, with the core concept in a like specifically actually not racist way that was presented in Full Metal Alchemist: Conquest of Shambhala. Which is essentially now the thing that was put forward in the racist concept that was put forward in Conquest of Shambhala, which is basically like explains to Edward basically like the flawed alchemy that was behind the Nazis' thinking, is basically like taking genetic like gene pools from different areas and basically like forcing them to stay contained, honestly kind of promoting inbreeding. That doesn't work that way. Like that's exactly how it works if you do that way. Because like genetics need to move around for them to mix. It's just kind of how it works. But so that's essentially where like the flaw in the alchemy, because it was basically taking the genetics and the national identity of all of these different countries, some of which were micronations, some of which were like vast empires, and basically using the borders of the country to act like glass for an alembic. I'm very disappointed at the core concept. But the way I come into this is the way this is actually useful in terms of, well, what do we do with all of these names? What do we do with all of these extra symbols? Refine, sublimate, refine and sublimate. Get rid of all that idiot namers flags. Because the thing is, like, the name giver got, I mean, it was still around in the 5th Yuga. It was a lot quieter, though. It was a lot quieter. I don't know what the deal with that is. But anyway. Yeah, I kind of was behind the scenes a lot, and that's in the 5th Yuga. Spent the entirety of it looking for my wife. That little friggin' Namada. Was able to keep track of her all the way through 4 freaking Yuga. With all of its names and all of its flags. Lost track of her in the 5th. Anyway. That's it for Kavitar Kika Simha. I'm sorry, Soon. I didn't let you tell my part of the story, but I had to catch people up and stuff that we kind of all forgot about, probably because he didn't know it yet. You didn't have to go sodding me like that, Kavitar Kika Simha. Alright, I'm sorry. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, me and the Kavitar Kika Simha are going to go make up. Obviously not in a gross way, because, like, there's only one body here. But that's it for the 5th Yuga. I'm probably going to have to figure out what I'm doing for the next 12 years, because that only gets us up to year 2000. Alright. Well, wait a minute. This is my life now. Holy smoke. Man, are you guys actually me? From, like, previous Yuga? What if I was to say yes? Well, then I'd have to believe you. Yes. Thank you, Kavitar Kika Simha. I'd actually kind of picked that up on with Murtasuda because of how detailed that story was. But wait a minute, is that for all of you? Are you messing with me? Not really. I'm more or less checking to make sure I'm not messing with myself. Oh. Won't they find that confusing? Honestly, Copy Track Kikasima, I'd rather they be confused a little bit than me be more confused for a while. You know what? We'll figure this out off camera. Anyway, thank you, Jiva. Have a nice yoga.